Hello, very good morning to all of you. Here, a beautiful article is in this today's editorial, and here we're going to know how it's relevant with the UPSC point of view. Basically, the topic over here it covers West Asia conflict. Here, in this West Asia conflict, basically, this conflict is happening between Iran, Israel, and the US. And this article is relevant from the UPSC paper, GS paper 2. And under this, we have just a sec. I have some glitch with my screen. Okay, so GS paper 2, and the subject is international relation. So the first question in mind for the beginners arises that why this topic is important for the UPSC preparation. First of all, it's talking about the West Asia, it's Middle East. This is strategically vital. Over here, we have to know that it's talking about the West Asia. West Asia is nothing but the Middle East countries. And it's very much important for the India if we see it from the strategic point of view. As it's a source, we all know, of India's oil and gases. As and also it's not only the source of India's oil and gas, but also it's a home to 8 million plus Indians diaspora. We all know in our general awareness that these are the things. And also it's a conflict prone zone, and India has to balance ties with rival countries like Iran, Israel, US, and Gulf countries. So India has none option but to balance the ties. That's why it's important for us to read this article, that is the after fight has stopped. And this article, before jumping into this article, I just want to give you people and historical background in the brief. What was the historical background of these country? Basically, this editorial is article. It's between the Middle East country between among the Iran, the conflict that is happening among Iran, Israel, and USA. Here, we all know that if we talk about the Iran, in 1979, Iran became an Islamic republic after a revolution that overthrew the Shah monarchy. Before it was monarchy rule, and after a revolution, became 1979 it became an Islamic republic after overthrowing the Shah, that he was a monarch. Okay, what happened since then? The retaliation with the US has been hostile. Before that, the relation between the Iran, Israel, and US was very cooperative. If we talk about the Iran and Israel relation, it was very strong and have the informal relationships between them. Iran is a Shia Muslim majority. In Muslim, they have the two sects, we all know about it, that is Sunni and Shia. Shia we call it. And Iran is a Shia majority country where the Muslims are in majority who belong to the Shia sect. Okay, and they obviously oppose the idea of that influence the Israel and Saudi Arabia region, because they're the people having the Sunni majority people. They're basically the followers having the different belief. That's why they are divided between these sects. So they oppose the Israel and Saudi Arabia region. That is the basically about Iran. Here we're talking about Iran. If we talk about the Israel and its historical background, we can trace it from the 1948 It is created as a Jewish homeland. Before, it has a strongly ally with the US. Then, what happened was they started facing hostility from the Arab and Islamic countries, especially Iran. Okay, they have a first time. Let me write down it for you people that it had a strong ally for the nation of the US. Then faced hostility from Arab nation and other Islamic countries like Iran. Islamic countries like, for instance, Iran. Here what happens that Israel, due to this hostility it started facing at that particular point of time, started feeling threatened from Iran's nuclear program, because at that point of time Iran was secretly planning for the nuclear power. Okay, and due to this, Israel started feeling threat and support and started supporting groups like Hamas and Hezbollah. What Israel started? It started, first let me write down this point, that Israel started feeling threatened by Iran's nuclear program, and supported in what he did. Into the fear of this, it started following the groups or supporting the groups named Hamas and Hezbollah. These were the historical background of Iran as well. Now we will talk about the background of USA. Just a sec. USA. Here what happened? If you talk about the USA, it also maintained a strong military presence in the Middle East. So we can write down this, that it maintains a strong presence in the Middle East, and also supported Israeli military and diplomatically. How it supported in the sense of militarily and diplomatically, and also wanted to contain Iran and limit its influence. At the same point of time, it supported the militarily to the Israel. The other things, here's the twist, that it supported the Israel, but on the other hand, it wants to contain Iran and limit its influence. Next comes one deal, that was how to contain the Iran. Here comes into the picture that deal. Just a second, let me change the color of my pen. I don't know why it's not working properly. Anyways, these things. Okay, the contents Iran, how it contains. Then comes the picture JCPOA. What is actually it is Joint Comprehensive Plan of Action. What is this? Is like Joint Comprehensive Plan of Action. Here what happened is, basically it was a deal. Okay, I just want to give you an overview that it's basically a deal where due to the threat that was feeling by the Israel, that maybe a nuclear threat that was felt by the Israel, they wanted to make such a deal that that ensured that Iran's nuclear deal or program will remain exclusively to the peace side. Okay, that's why this deal was made at that particular point of time, and this deal was signed by India and also the world powers that would find P5 plus 1. What is this P5 plus 1? It's basically the countries included China, France, Germany, Russia, UK and US. These were the countries also signed this treaty. And that point of time, Iran also agreed to limit the nuclear activity in, but in this deal, what happened? Iran agreed. Okay, but he also want something in exchange. What he wanted, he agreed, but in exchange for sanction relief. Okay, these were the demands of the Iran at that particular point of time. Now, what happened? Agreed to, let me write this, limit the nuclear activity. Okay, then Iran agreed, and now at that point of time, what happened? He agreed with the exchange of sanction relief. Now, the turning point happened in 2018. 2018, what happened was US President Donald Trump, what he did, he withdrew from this deal. You can see how it's making, a conflict for the nations. With this withdrawing from this deal, what happened? Obviously, the Iran will no longer be able to continue with this agreement, and he will start it doing something that will hurt the deal or hurt the sentiments or the nation, the dealing nations. What did Iran, as a result, what happened? Iran resumed enriching uranium and tension arose. This were the historical background, how it exists. Okay, they made an agreement. Okay, why? Because Israel was feeling threatened of the Iran's nuclear deal, because Iran was secretly planning about the nuclear deal, and all that feeling of getting threatened by this nuclear deal of Iran. What did Israel did? Israel started supporting Hamas and Hezbollah type of groups. That they're the proxy groups. Or then what happened? The US had a that point of time Middle East have the strong military presence in the Middle East. They supported Israel. Then what the US did, they made a joint comprehensive plan of action for this deal. Now India also supported, and plus other world countries, P5 plus one countries also supported. These things, what happened? This in these deal, Iran agreed that it will limit the nuclear activity, but in exchange of some sanction relief, and also they were mutually agreed. Okay, I will give you this much of sanction. Okay, don't do. They were just sorted out. But what happened? The twist happened in 2018 when US President Donald Trump withdrew from this deal. Obviously, if it withdrew, the result will Iran again resume doing something nuclear activity, and it's resumed enriching the uranium. And as a result, what happened? Tension again rose. Now, what has recently happened? We will talk in this article. This was a historical background. I gave you an overview. But what about this happened? And what is the article is? As per the article is, just let me write down a few point is Israeli strikes. What has recently happened? As per the article was Israeli strikes. Sorry. Okay. What happened? Israel attacked Iranian facilities using missiles. Okay. Now Israel is also attacking. This is not a new thing, but how is attacking? It's attacked the Iranian facilities using missiles. What were his targets were nuclear enrichment plants like Natanz and Isfahan, because we know that in historical background that Israel have already had a threat perception. Okay, he used to being feeling threatened and always before in the historical sense. So what it did, it literally strike on the Iranian facilities, but using missiles. Okay, then what happened? What were its targets? Its targets were obviously will be first and foremost were beyond nuclear enrichment plants like Natanz and Isfahan enrichment plants, and the centers were Natanz and Isfahan. Then The next target of the Israeli attack was on the military bases in Syria and Iraq, even US bases in Qatar. Okay, these were the targets of Israel because Israel wanted to punish Iran and stop its nuclear ambition. Because after withdrawing from the Joint Comprehensive Plan of Action by the Trump in 2018, Iran started assuming this, Iranian production is a kind of a nuclear activity. Okay, so heat started, and due to this threat perception, what Israel did, the recent activity that it started targeting using Iranian using missile that started targeting Iranian facilities. Like obviously, it will target the nuclear enrichment plant, military bases in Syria, and US bases in Qatar. Why he did? Because he wanted to. Why he did? Let me write it for you people. That why he did? Why to punish Iran? Punish Iran. Just a sec, guys. Iran and stop his nuclear ambition. If Israel attack, then obviously on Iran, here what happened? Israel attack on Iran. So what would be his response? So here now we will read what was its response. Here we know the response. Iran response. What it did? It launched missiles near US military bases in Qatar, Iraq, but gave advance warning to the US. Okay, what Iran did? It launched missile. Obviously, if you harm someone, the other will not be like, okay, I'm like Gandhiji, don't hurt me. This is not the thing. Okay, if we talk about the global relation or international relation. So, what the Iran did in response, it launched missiles near US military bases in Qatar and Iraq. Qatar and Iraq bases, and but before doing that, he gave advance warning to US. Okay, see, I am going to launch this. Okay, and also there's a report that having no casualty, means no such big things hampered or destroyed. Okay, what does it this response symbolizes? What does it symbolizes? If we talk about the symbolizes, it's like not aggressive, because if it would be aggressive, then Iran wouldn't have given the advance warning to the US, right? So these are the things. This also shows that Iran wanted to show strength but avoided war. Here, what Iran wanted to show? Iran wanted to show strength, but at the same time, he wanted to avoid war, and he avoided the war. Okay. Now, what did the US do? USA do, because obviously he launched a missile. Iran launched a missile on the US. What the US will do? The US in the reaction, we all know that did not retaliated militarily. Okay, and also avoided escalation, any kind of provoking or just making things more worsen, because it has bases all over the region but prefer diplomatic restraint. ऐसी बात नहीं थी, it was not the thing that US don't have the bases, it have the military bases if we talk about, but what he chosen diplomatic restraint. Okay, this was the story that what had happened here. The Israeli strikes, then Iran it responded by launching missile to US military bases in Qatar and in Iraq, but giving advance warning, and there were the report that they're have no casualties. Okay, then this response of Iran towards the attack of Israeli attack in the military bases shows that Iran response is in the sense it's want to show its strength, that okay, I am strong, but I don't want to war at this point of time. And what the USA did, USA also choosing to have the diplomatic restraint. Now, if you talk about, one question also arises, that who else is involved in proxy war? Basically, the non-state actors I'm talking about, proxy forces, you can say, or non-state actors. Here, what happened? Like Iran uses proxy groups, like non-government forces backed by a country are the proxy groups. Okay, so first we will know that what is proxy groups. So it's the group, okay, which is non-governmental forces backed by country to fight indirectly, not directly. Okay, these were the by a country to fight indirectly. Okay, now these are the to as a proxy forces, who else were involved. If we talk about the groups were Hezbollah from the Iran side. Okay, Iran uses this proxy groups. Hezbollah, which region belongs to Lebanon, and what action it did? It attacks Israeli powerful militant. It attacks. Let me clear it, one Iranian group. Okay, Iranian group, and it attacks Israel with a powerful militant. Here next have Houthis, and it's belong to the region Yemen, and it attacks Saudi Arabia. Also fired missiles. Sorry, also fired missiles towards Israel. Then the other group, one more group is also involved. The one more proxy group, that it was Hashd al-Shabi. It's belong to the region Iraq, and it militia also attacked US bases in Iraq. So Hezbollah, region Lebanon, attacked Israel. Then Houthis from the Yemen region attacked Saudi Arabia, and Hashd al-Shabi from Iraq region attacked US bases in Iraq. Okay, these groups allow Iran, directly or indirectly, to put a pressure on the enemies without a direct war. What these group do, we can also write it down over here, that these group allow, in the sense, it allow Iran's to put pressure on enemies without war. Okay, that's why these proxy groups are being supported by the Iran, and although it's non-governmental forces and it's not any recognized forces under the government institution, but it's backed by the country, so it's in the sense allow the country like Iran to put a pressure on the enemies without having a direct war. Okay, right over here, direct war. Okay, so why did the question arises that over here, in the response we can see over here that in the response Iran launched missile near US military bases. But why these he given advance warning to US and having no casualty? Okay, why such type of mildly response? So here one question also arises, that Iran respond mildly. Why? If we analyze this thing, one question arises: why mildly? It could be an aggressive one, but why he choosing to be mild retaliation? So at this point of time, Iran is under economic pressure due to sanction because US already put harsh economic sanction on harsh sanction. I think it's not economic; it's harsh sanction on Iran. Due to this, Iran is under economic pressure. Okay, first reason is this, number one, and number two is maybe like this, and due to this economic pressure, now Iran is at the stage that it wants to avoid a full scale war because it needed time to regroup or negotiate or to rebuild. So needed time to regroup, negotiate and rebuild itself. Okay, but here its response sent a message of strength without provoking a war. Okay, in the sense, we can say that Iran mindly respond will be called as calibrated response. What does this mean? What is calibrated response? Response which is just limited, controlled, and strategic. Okay. Now, what is the current status? If we talk about we have read the historical background, then we read it that what were the current scenario, what recently happened, and why who else is involved as a proxy forces as the non-state actors. Now then we talk about that why Iran respond so mindly, what their response is so mindly in the nature, why not aggressive, why not full-fledged war. So we have seen the reasons behind. Now we come to the again one question, that what is the current strength? What is the current status or strength of the Iran or Iraq or Israeli forces or the US? So here the current status, I guess talk about, is active fighting has stopped. Okay, but the ceasefire is fragile in a space. So we can write it down that active fighting is just a sec. Yeah, fighting has stopped, but here the ceasefire is fragile. It can be broken easily. Next, what happened is the current status is that all parties are now avoiding further escalation. They don't want to stretch the things to turn into a violent. So here all parties all parties, that is Iran, Israel, and US. Let me write it for you. Israel, US, avoiding further escalation. Okay, and as a result, this is happening that diplomacy is continuing. Okay, diplomacy is continuing. It's continuing. If we talk about why it's important for India, why are we reading? So we know that here for India, it's important in the sense having the energy security. Then we have the Indian diaspora. Then the strategic balancing have to India have to maintain the balancing ties without taking sides, any of the sides. So here we can draw one flow chart that in the Indian sense of the Indian viewpoint, we can say the viewpoint of India in the better word, it's important in the sense having the energy security. How is energy security? It's in the sense that India imports over 50% of oil from the Middle East. Okay, with the oil, the petroleum we get, it's the import more than 50% is coming from the Middle East. Okay, that's energy security. If conflict arises, then what it ultimately lead to the prices of oil increasing. So if conflict will continue or it increases or continue, then what will happen? That it will the oil prices will increases, and obviously it affects like Indian economy increases, and it affects Indian economy. Then the other, this one is A, and then if we see the other, obviously the next is Indian diaspora. We have already talked about that 8 million plus people of Indians, people of India basically lived in Gulf countries. So here, Indian diaspora, 8 million and over people of India live in Gulf, live in Gulf country. This is the second most important thing for the Indian perspective or an Indian viewpoint. First, with the energy, we all know the oil become more than 50% from the Middle East. If conflict rises, the price of oil will automatically get increases. Then it will ultimately affect the Indian economy. Then Indian diaspora, okay, because 8 million people are living Gulf countries, so it's kind be a kind of risking their lives, jobs, and also the remittances. So here we can write it for risk or can risk their lives, jobs, and remittances. Okay, the third thing is strategic balance, because somewhere or the other India has to maintain the strategic balancing with the other parties, because without any taking any biasness or favoritism to the particular nation, because somewhere or the other India has to maintain a good relation with Iran, Israel, and USA, in the sense that Iran have the Chabahar port. There is an India has to take the access to this Chabahar port if taking the route of the Central Asia. So here we can write it down that Iran Chabahar port, where India take the access to Central Asia here. Then uh, for if we talk about the Israel, then here we have the defense or cyber security or agriculture type of relation. Agriculture, cyber security. Then we talk about the US. Obviously, we can't keep a bad relation or not with the US, because it's a global partner. You have to make a good relation with this country. So without any biasness, India has to need to take a balanced eyes without any bias, any without taking any sides. So these are the thing. Okay, if we talk about the UPSC point of view, concept, like we read that what is important for the India: energy security, India diaspora, and strategic uh, balancing. Okay, India needs to balance, because for Iran, its Chabahar port is there, that access to the it's only access to the Central Asia in the lesser time. If we talk about Israel, they have a defense, agriculture, cyber security. Then if we talk about the US, it's obviously the global partner, so you can't uh, you know keep a bad relation. So if we talk about the concept over here is, after reading this all these in a summary, we can say that it's asymmetric warfare, then proxy war. The keywords are there: the strategic restraint and fragile ceasefire. So I'm just writing it down. The concept, for your better understanding, is an extra topic. If you want to watch this, continue watch this, then you can. If you want to leave, then you can leave, because it's an extra topic which I want to give for the beginners, that what the keywords like asymmetric warfare or the proxy war or the strategic restraint. What does it mean? Here, the symmetric warfare, it means uh, when a weaker power uses unconventional tools like drones or militias or cyber attacks against a strong enemy, because we know that the country is in the weaker position, it won't be able to handle the long full-fledged war. So what it do, it started using unconventional tools to attack the stronger enemy. So that is a asymmetric warfare. Here, weak power, let me write it down for you people again. Weak power uses unconventional tools, attacks drones, cyber attacks, militias against a stronger enemy. Okay, this is a asymmetric warfare. Next, we have the keyword, that is proxy war. We have seen the proxy group, that was basically a non-state actors that will have the backing of the country. It's not government recognized, it's non-governmental organization. So here now we learn that what's a proxy war. We know the what's a proxy war. Here its meaning is when a country fights indirectly through the non-state actors or BTRs. It's called proxy war. It fights, it's war. When it uses the group, then it's a group. Okay, so simple. Country uses, just a sec. Country uses, or we can say that when country fights, how it fights? It fights indirectly through non-state actors, or we can say militias. These were the. Now, strategic third keyword we can choose from here is the strategic restraint. Here, what we have is that it means that choosing not to escalate the conflict using diplomacy or a symbolic action. What's a strategic restraint? Here, the country, in the place of retaliation, chooses that it don't want to escalate the conflict, or to stretch this conflict, and it uses diplomacy or a symbolic action. So here we can write choosing not to escalate conflict, then using diplomacy or symbolic action. Symbolic action. This is the basically thing. Now, fragile sees power. One more word is there. That is fragile sees fire. The fire is a ceasefire. I already told you that it's a kind of temporary halt in the fighting, but tension still exists, because ceasefires happen, but it's kind of fragile because there is a temporary halt. It's a kind of temporary halt in fighting, but tensions still exist. But tension still exists. Okay, there's other basically the 4 keywords which I chosen from the editorial. Just go through once. And here one question is also summing out for the GS paper 2, that Iran-Israel conflicts illustrates a new form of warfare in the Middle East. Discuss the nature of the proxy and asymmetric warfare and its impact on regional interest. Let me write it down for you people, that Iran. So here one question I've wrote it down here for you people, that Iran-Israel conflict illustrates a new form of warfare. Okay, a new form of warfare in the Middle East. Here it's talking about the conflict and new form of warfare. So what question is asking? Discuss the nature of proxy and asymmetric warfare What's the nature of the proxy and asymmetric warfare and its impact on the Indian regional interest? How it's impacting 250 words. So how we will start this question? First, you pause the video and write it on your own. If you want, you can afterwards play this video. Can play this video and just see how it can be answered. First, you write the intro. You can mention the recent ceasefire or a missile strikes. Okay. Introduce proxy or asymmetric war. What does it mean by the proxy or asymmetric? Just a sec. Asymmetric war. And also you can give the recent missile attack. Okay. You can give missile strikes. Sorry, strikes or ceasefire. You can give this. Now in body, what you can do is define what is asymmetric warfare. Okay, then you can also define the proxy warfare over here. Then what you can do that how you can describe in few words that how the Iran uses proxy groups. Okay, proxy groups where Hezbollah, Houthis. Okay, you can do this. All right. Here you can explain Israeli military actions, what the Israelis do in the response. Then also US bases, how it's restrained. Okay. Then you will discuss the impact on India because here is asking now that the last part of the question that impact on the Indian regional influence. Here you can discuss the impact that is energies India's. What is the impact? Obviously, energy needs is there because 50% of oil is importing from the Gulf nation. Okay, you can mention this. Then you have the diaspora. Okay, and diaspora over here we mentioned no that the country 8 million people above us living diaspora. We can give this data 8 million plus people are living, so it could be a risk of lives, then their job, then remittances. Okay, lives, job and remittances. Okay, this you can give. Then India have to maintain the strategic balancing. Okay, then the diplomatic position. This is the thing that you can give this as an impact on India. Diplomatic positioning. India has to maintain the diplomatic positions, and obviously the US, the global power, have the strategic balancing over here. You can write it down by the Iran, Chabar port. Then you have Israel, a connection. They have US as a global partner. Then diplomatic tie positioning. You can mention about this. Just a sec. Okay, and on the last para, you can give as in a conclusion that what we can give, just brainstorm something at this point I can after reading this, for India it should be focused on strategic autonomy, peace building diplomacy and safeguarding its interests, because India can't don't have to follow this neutrality and also maintain this. So here we can say that India must focus, not just should or like it just must focus on the strategic autonomy, have to maintain its autonomy, then peace building, diplomacy, and obviously at the same time have to safeguard its interest. So this is the answer for this question. You can give in this for the 250 words. Okay. If you want again a summary, so I will say for the beginners, listen. Here in this editorial, it's given that Iran and Israel fought briefly with the missiles, but they avoided. They choose to avoid the full-fledged war. Okay. Next, what happened? Iran replied symbolically, trying to save face without provoking the US. This is the Iran response. Then proxy militaries like Hezbollah and Houthis, what they did? They attacked on Iran's behalf. Okay, these were the proxy groups that were used by the Iran to indirectly attack on the stronger enemy, because Iran itself considered itself as an weaker enemy, because uh, Iran is under some harsh sanction which was imposed by the Donald Trump. These were the first thing. So in the mind of the Iran, that's why Iran uses proxy groups to attack on the attack on its stronger enemy. Then the next is the fragile peace now holds, but tension remains. It means that anytime the war can occur or any kind of attack can happen in future, because the right now the condition is it's a fragile peace. Okay, then what India is doing? India is watching carefully because of oil, people, and diplomacy. Because we cannot compromise in any of these things, because India have some economic relations, has strategic, have to maintain the balancing ties with all these three countries, that is Israel, Iran, and US. So that is for today, and this is the tutorial. Thank you for watching. Just like the video, subscribe the channel, and share among your friends. Thank you.